We roll into week 4 of the 2025 NFL season. Welcome into Got It Covered. Giovanni Heater alongside Raza Umarani with you. And Raza, week 4 of the NFL, it just feels like between college football and the NFL, football season starting to flash before our eyes a little bit. Can we reel it back in? Can we capture it a little bit here before we wish things away and it's gone again?
I wish, but again, you spend a whole winter, spring, summer waiting for football to come back, and then you get it back and gone again. So this is the last Sunday, last slate of NFL games in September. But then October rolls around, and in my opinion, October is the best month of the year. I also think it's undoubtedly the best sports month of the year. We get postseason baseball, basketball comes back as well. So definitely not trying to, lose sight of everything right now, but it's about to get better. I promise you.
Yeah, no question about it. We'll start with Thursday night football out in Glendale. It's Seahawks at Cardinals. Seattle is 1.5-point favorites on the road. This is interesting because we got the rivalry uniforms coming out.
Correct.
And I'm telling you right now, I don't know if there's any way the Cardinals are losing in those threads. The Cardinals won the rivalry uniform competition, but the Seahawks ones are pretty nice too.
Yeah, the Seahawks ones are nice. Only the Cardinals are wearing theirs. I think this was a huge missed opportunity by the NFL. I know they wanted
pair them up.
Yeah, I know they wanted each team to be able to wear them at home, and I get that, but then have them wear it twice or something, against different opponents within the division, one on the road, one at home, because the matchup between these two rivalry uniforms would have been sick. Arizona, in my opinion, I agree with you, took home the cake. They're my favorites. I can't wait to see them under the lights on Amazon Prime Video. But as much as I'd like to, I believe in uniform mojo for sure, but I also believe that the better team wins a football game most of the time. I think Seattle is really flying under the radar right now. I think they are a sneaky top 10-ish team in the league right now with the way their defense is playing while shorthanded. And with the way Sam Darnold's playing right now, Darnold to JSN has been arguably definitely the most productive, but arguably the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the league. Kenneth Walker is playing like a man possessed. They're making it work even with an offensive line we don't think is all that. And again, their defense is playing really well and probably getting Devin Witherspoon back this week. So give me the Seahawks to get this one done on the road. I just think they're the better coached team, and I like them more from top to bottom.
Yeah, the Seahawks have scored 31 and 44 points in the last 2 weeks, respectively. So interesting matchup here. I'm going to take the Seahawks as well to go into Glendale and win it because that offense has been humming. And then with that defense, I couldn't agree with you more. Taking things to Sunday, Saints at Bills. Buffalo, 15.5-point favorites. Huge spread in the National Football League. The Bills have shown they can win in every way imaginable. Even when Josh doesn't account for a touchdown, they score 30 points, right? The defense has shored up. It feels like their run game is probably the most impressive part about this team. James Cook has been a man possessed himself. Josh's receivers have really stepped up. I think you've seen the emergence of Keon Coleman so far this year. Shakir's what they knew he was. You've also seen the emergence of Dalton Kincaid, who they said, kind of had to have a big leap because he was underwhelming early on after being drafted out of Utah. I think he's come into the mix more and is scoring touchdowns, not just catching passes, right? So fascinating team Buffalo is. We're going to talk about them all year. 15.5 is a huge number. The Saints are bad. I will say Desmond Ridder has been Spencer Rattler has been a little bit better than some people have expected when you really break it all down. But I still think Buffalo can cover the 15.5, especially because the game is in Orchard Park. So give me the Bills big.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I need to say about this. I think Bills win, Bills cover, and it's on to the next. Anything can happen in the NFL. I'm old enough to remember when rookie Josh Allen went to Minnesota and they were 17.5-point underdogs also early in the year, and Buffalo won that game outright. I think that's still the last time a team. That's right. It's the last time a team that big of an underdog won a game. So it'd be very funny if the reverse happened to them here, but it won't. Buffalo
and
$1 billion. No pun intended.
And Spencer Rattler is safe to say not Josh Patrick
No,
Allen.
no.
Speaking of the Vikings on the road at Steelers. This is the 9:30 a.m. game out in
On the
Dublin.
road. It's
All right.
we're all on the
I
road.
guess
We're
that's
all
right.
in the
That's right.
air.
It's in Ireland. Vikings at Steelers, Minnesota, 2.5-point favorites. Aaron Rodgers playing out in Ireland. What do you think? What do you like in this one? Carson Wentz was putting up some numbers last week.
He was. Apparently these are the reason they sent these teams to Ireland is because like they're the two most popular NFL teams in Ireland. I never would have guessed that, or I guess the Vikings maybe would make sense, but like I don't know why the Steelers are.
I feel like the Steelers are because they're Steelers fans everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, they're a global brand. It's tough. I want to pick the Vikings because Wentz is good enough to play within that system. We saw it last week. And man, Brian Flores is coaching like an absolute maniac. Like the reason that they're 2-1 and not 3-0 is because of JJ McCarthy being so bad in week 2 against Atlanta. Their defense still played fantastic in that game, albeit against Michael Penix Jr. Like Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense do not get me out of bed in the morning, and their defense is absolutely awful. So I think you could. It's not going to be as drastic as their win over the Bengals last week. And in Ireland, I guess anything goes. There can be a lot of Guinness being sipped in the stadium, but I think the Vikings are a better coach team right now, and I like the way they're playing, so I'll take them to win this one.
I'm also going to take the Vikings to win this one, and I kind of have a philosophy of the spread's under 3, just take them to cover the spread. Spread's at 2.5, so give me the Vikings. Commanders at Falcons. What a cataclysmic implosion for the Atlanta Falcons last week, losing 30-0 on the road at Carolina. Did not see that coming. Michael Penix gets pulled from the game. He has more interceptions than touchdowns this year. The Commanders, obviously without Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota running the show. This is your team. Washington is only favored by 1.5. I think that's kind of bonkers. I know that you can't play everything into last week's loss for Atlanta, but I think it's simple. Mariota is playing better quarterback than Penix is right now, and he's the backup. I get the games in Atlanta. I don't find Atlanta to be this terribly difficult place to play. I like Washington to go in there and cover. Obviously, it's only 1.5. You might as well just take them to cover at that rate. But I like Washington to go in there. I get that Atlanta's defense has been solid, but after seeing what you saw last week in Carolina, serious questions about what they have at quarterback and on the offensive side. So give me the Commanders. I think they're better in pretty much every phase.
Maybe no Jaden Daniels. We'll see. He talked to the media on Wednesday for the first time since getting hurt, which is interesting. And he's being all nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, I feel good, but I'm listening to the doctors and whatever.
You think he's got a shot to play? I don't think they need to play him. I think they're gonna milk this thing out as much as they humanly can because Mariota has the I know that they didn't officially announce, but Mariota has the capability to win them a game. And they've shown that. Wouldn't you want to protect Jaden as long as possible?
Yeah, I think that you would. And but I do think it's different. Like last week, Marcus Mariota talked to the media on Wednesday. That was kind of telling of how it was going to go. So for Jaden to be doing it this week means I think he's closer. I wouldn't mind if Mariota plays this game, but I mean, if the kid's healthy and he can play, I think you should play, even if it's with a knee brace on, which would be kind of unfortunate. I think a bigger story here for me is that Terry McLaurin is probably going to miss this one too. Did not practice on Wednesday, dealing with a quad injury he sustained on a touchdown he should have been given that he wasn't against the Raiders. And now all of a sudden the reports are seeking second opinions with like core muscle specialists, and this could be worse than a 1 to 2 week thing, which would be terrible. But that's what happens when you sit out all the camp and your body's not ready for the start of the season. Like I hate to say it, but we've seen it so many times at previous places. Like Adam Peters comes from San Francisco. They always get their deals done at the end of training camp, and then their stars get injured in the first 4 weeks of the season. Like, so that's aside from the point. I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on, but I'm going to take the Falcons to win this game. I'm not reverse psychologizing, I promise. I think that they bounce back from what happened last week. I do really like the way Washington's defense is playing, particularly against the run, but I'm less certain about their secondary, which was susceptible to how bad It was susceptible last week, playing really poorly against Geno. It just didn't matter because Washington was ahead by so much by the end of the game. I do think they're facing a better offense, and I do think they're facing a much better defense as well. I also think that it's hard to prepare for Mariota last week if you're Oakland or Las Vegas, rather, but maybe a little different for Raheem Morris. It's another Mariota revenge game potentially, so we'll see. I'm doing this under the assumption that there's no Mariota, no McLaurin. Sorry, no Daniels, no McLaurin. So that would be really treacherous territory for Washington. You're going to be without QB1, wide receiver 1 in McLaurin, wide receiver 2 in Noah Brown, and one of your running backs in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who didn't practice on Wednesday either, potentially might not play in this game, and without John Bates. So you're pretty much going to be lining up with 0 wide receivers on the field, just running the ball in every play. I don't think it's a formula to get it done. I think I'm giving this one to Atlanta.
All right, fair enough. Browns at Lions. I think we can be rather speedy with this. The Lions look like a machine once again. Kudos to Dan Campbell and company, because we know how much they lost and how they've still put the puzzle pieces together, and that offense is humming. Detroit's 9.5-point favorites. They're playing one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Give me Cleveland to cover. The game's in Detroit. Detroit wins the game. I could see them only winning by a touchdown, though. I mean, Cleveland's defense is that good. Give me Cleveland to cover, Detroit to win the game.
I think Detroit wins. I also think Detroit covers because I think their offense is better than Green Bay's offense, even despite what we saw in week 1. I just think the Lions are playing really well right now. They're my survivor pick this week. So these are my famous last words. But yeah, I think the Lions win this one pretty big, to be honest with you.
Panthers at Patriots in Foxborough. Drake May, Bryce Young, New England 5.5-point favorites at home. Feels like New England's got to win this thing to get going a little bit here. They're 1-2 on the year. I think it's a slower start than maybe some people expected for New England. People were high on them coming into the year. Could they contend for the AFC East? I don't know if anybody gave them a great shot, but I think collectively a lot of the media agreed they were that second best team to Buffalo in the division. Haven't shown it yet. I know Carolina looked good last week beating up on Atlanta. Give me the Patriots, though, to win this thing, and I'll take them to cover and win by a touchdown because it's a home game for them, and it just feels like it's a must-win spot for Vrabel to just get the tires moving a little bit here in New England.
Yeah, they're dealing with some problems on both sides of the ball in New England right now, and the coaching is a little subpar. I think that Patriots that we saw, rather the Panthers that we saw last week, are not the Panthers we should come to expect every week.
Yeah.
I think that if there was ever a game for Travion Henderson to finally break out, it's this one. And hopefully he gets more touches instead of freaking Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, who can't hold on to the football, which is nuts. I think the Patriots this week make a more concerted effort to be more disciplined, to really hone in on ball security. And I think regardless, Carolina doesn't present much of a threat. I think the Patriots win this game. Maybe it's close. I would probably take them to cover, but I think this is the most sound Patriots performance of the year up to this point.
I agree. Staying in the 1:00 window for a little bit longer. Chargers at Giants. Chargers have been humming. We've talked about them as maybe one of the best teams in the NFL. And then on the other side, the Giants. Jaxson Dart making his first start. They're 0-3. The game's at MetLife. 6.5-point favorites are the Chargers. Fascinating game. What does this offense look like with Jaxson Dart throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors? Chargers off to this hot start. I kind of want to take the Giants, man. Brian Daboll gets to throw his man Jaxson Dart out there. How awesome would it be for him to win his debut at home at MetLife? I don't see why the Chargers need to be humbled. At the same breath, they found a way to win, but they did not play very well last week against the Broncos. It's the NFL, man. This isn't college football. I'm going to take the Giants to get their first win of the year. I think things get moving with Jaxson Dart. I think Daboll's proven to be a good quarterback coach when he has a quarterback.
Yeah, then Dart's his guy. I think they'll have more life on offense, although the bar is in hell, considering he was just dead in the water with Russell Wilson.
Which is
I
crazy because of what Russ did to Dallas, but
I
that shows
know.
how bad Dallas's defense is.
Precisely,
Yeah,
precisely. And while I'd like to think, oh yeah, they're gonna come out and give Malik Neighbors 15 targets. He hasn't practiced this week after taking
yeah.
that big shot on Sunday Night Football.
I
And
think
if
he goes
Malik,
though.
I would hope he goes. Not practicing on Wednesday is never a good sign. Obviously, then you can try and work back in on Thursday, but you want to at least be limited, if
Yeah,
anything, on Wednesday. For you to not practice on a Wednesday is a problem for me.
that's valid.
Even under the assumption that he does go, the Chargers are a way better team. I don't see why they shouldn't win this game comfortably because as again, to say Dart can come in and sling it implies that he's going to be fine and he's going to be comfortable. The truth is, his kid's making his first NFL start way earlier than they
Fair.
wanted him to, and it's against a defense that's not crazy good, but a team that's pretty good. So I think the Chargers win this one pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a vibes, hopeful,
Right.
optimistic pick. I don't think I'd ever
You
bet the Giants to win the game.
you also picked them to beat the Chiefs last week.
I did.
But that was not a bad pick, in my opinion.
Yeah. 22-9 final score says otherwise. Eagles at Buccaneers in Tampa, Baker Mayfield finding ways to win games. These are two teams that are getting by the skin of their teeth when it comes to late game situations. They're playing great football. I don't want to pretend they're not playing good football. These are two of the best teams in the National Football League, in my opinion. But somehow they're finding ways to win games at the end. Something's got to give because someone's going to lose their first game of the season this week, either the Eagles or the Buccaneers. It's in Tampa. Philly is 3.5-point favorites. Give me Baker at home.
I would love to agree with you,
Mike
but
Evans is out, I believe, too.
he
Did I
is.
see that? Yeah.
So I mean the Bucks, you're looking at no wide receiver 1, no wide receiver 2, neither starting tackle, and your starting guard, all probably going to
Doesn't
be out
matter.
there.
You got Emeka Ibuka.
Emeka Ibuka has been unbelievable. He's the real wide receiver 1, if we're being honest. Bucky Irving's still insane. We both love Baker Mayfield, and their defense is playing really good football, to say the least.
And they got
They're,
Sean Tucker.
yes, they are. Shout out to 44.
Pleased with his
Yeah,
performance.
pleased with his performance. I think Tampa, for as good as they've been against the run, will continue to do so against Saquon Barkley. I worry about their secondary a little bit. I worry about Philly secondary more, but
Yeah.
this is one of those situations where I do think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. And like until the Eagles lose a game because they arguably have deserved to lose each of the first 3, I just have to keep picking them because they're going to be like the Chiefs last year. We keep on saying that, right? And how many times were we like, this is the week the Chiefs finally got, and it just never happened.
Never happened.
Until they only lost one game really in the regular season. That was at Buffalo, a game that I think they were underdogs in anyway. So that was like the one time that they were playing a team that should have beat them, and they did beat them. So I'm going to take Philly here. I'd probably like the Buccaneers to cover as a home dog. I'm going to be a huge, huge Buccaneers fan on Sunday afternoon, but I'm going to take the Eagles to win this game as a precautionary move.
I'll tell you what, if the Eagles start like they started against LA and have to come from behind, not going to happen. I think the Bucks are too good for that. So we'll see if the Eagles can get off to a quicker start this week in Tampa Bay. We can be pretty brief with this one. Titans at Texans, 2 0-3 teams. No way Texans go to 0-4. There's just no way. I think there's still a path for the Texans to be the 7th 0-3 team to make the postseason. I really do. I don't think it's a great path, especially with how poor their porous, you could say, their offensive line has been. CJ still hasn't looked like his rookie self, but they have a good defense. I think there is still a path, and it's in Houston. There's no way they lose this game. I'm sorry, Cam Ward. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans are just horrible. There's no other way to slice it. Every week could be Brian Callahan's last week as the head coach. It's really just delaying the inevitable here. I think this one's probably going to be closer than Vegas thinks because I don't trust the Texans to beat anybody by a touchdown. At this point, I don't trust the Texans to score a freaking touchdown on offense, but I will take them to win this game because
True.
I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee wins this game.
I would.
But Houston just needs to have it way more, and I think they're still in a better spot because at least they've lost 3 close games. Tennessee's hardly been competitive this year.
To your point, they haven't scored. I actually do like Tennessee to cover the 7.5. I agree with you there.
I don't hate that.
Colts at Rams in Inglewood. Danny Dimes has been absolutely insane so far this year. The man has 816 yards through the air in 2025. They've played 3 games, so that's pretty nice. Rams felt like they had a chance to win last week against Philly, coughed it up, let the Eagles come back. They're 2-1. I think this is the week, even though I'm skeptical about the Rams secondary, I think this is the week that the Colts pick up their first loss. I don't think this run can last forever. You have to remind yourself where we had them coming into the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the Colts are a bad team. I think this feels like a more bounce back week for the Rams is how I feel about this. I think the Rams win this game. You look at the betting odds. Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I'll take them to cover that and win, 4-6, whatever. But give me the Rams.
Yeah, if the Rams can do what they did for 2 quarters and change against Philadelphia in this game, they should be fine. I like that they're at home, even though really being at home for these LA teams is just the fact that they don't have to travel and the game is played at SoFi Stadium because all the other fans come in and invade.
Right.
But you're right that it's like we didn't think the Colts would be this, and we were giving them props now that they're here, but we're also still kind of waiting for the return to earth. I don't know that this is a return to earth in the sense that they're going to get crushed and Daniel Jones is going to have a passer rating of 17. I think this is going to be a close competitive game. I think I would probably take Indianapolis to cover the 3.5, but I'm definitely taking the Rams to win this game. I think they're going to be a little pissed off after what happened last week, and I think they're going to come out with a point to prove in a game that could be a more low scoring than people think. I'm actually really excited to see the running backs and how they both perform because Jonathan Taylor's been awesome at the start of the year, and LA's defense I don't like their secondary, but the numbers have been good because they've played the Texans and the Titans in the first 2 games. So it's going to be an interesting little chess match between both of these offensive gurus and Shane Steichen and Sean McVay.
Jaguars at 49ers out in Santa Clara. Honestly, all things considered, the Jags have not been off to a bad start this year.
Mm-mm.
And I think they've been better than we thought they were going to be. Niners are 3-0. They're only 3.5-point favorites at home here. Who do you like in this one?
The Jags really should be 3-0, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
If Brian Thomas Jr. has hands, the Jaguars are 3-0 coming into this game. But I've seen this league long enough to know that 3-0, 2-1, 3-1, even 4-0, 5-0 teams aren't always what they seem. Right? I remember the Sam Darnold 3-0 Carolina Panthers. I remember the Rex Grossman 3-1 Washington Redskins or the Sam Bradford 5-0 Vikings way back when. So not comparing the Jaguars to those teams. I just don't think that because their record is solid through 3 games that they are a good team because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is playing very well right now. Their defense is playing very well right now, and I got to give them props for that. And for that reason, I think this will be low scoring because the Niners, again, are dealing with injuries out the wazoo, might be without Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall in this game, in which case I have no earthly idea who's catching the ball.
And Mac Jones is still throwing it.
But he might, even if he can't go, or even if he can go, I should say, I think they're expecting Brock Purdy to come back in this game. I think as long as they have Purdy and CMC, I trust them more, and their defense is playing pretty well right now as well. So I think the 49ers win another game at home that looks a lot like their win over the Cardinals last week.
Ravens at Chiefs. Chiefs are 1-2. So are the Ravens. Who had that on the bingo card coming into this season? Games at Arrowhead, of course. I wish it was in Baltimore. I really do. This is tough. Derrick Henry's been a beast other than fumbling the football, but he's done it in all 3 games to this point. In key moments, the last between Buffalo and then last week. The Chiefs felt like they got the offense going a little bit in the second half against the Giants, I guess. This is a
Low
tough
bar.
game. I honestly, it's so hard to pick the Chiefs to lose at Arrowhead. I think the Ravens go in there and win this game. I just think that they've shown way more. Like, look what the Ravens did against Buffalo. And honestly, what they did against Detroit, too. We haven't seen anything from the Chiefs.
You're not wrong, and I think Baltimore's a better team than Kansas City. We've seen more out of them.
But how do you pick them to go into Arrowhead and win? That's what I'm so
Well, you
conflicted
definitely
with.
can. I mean, they came very close to doing it last year.
Also, how's this game? I hate that happens. That happens all the time where the Bills went to Arrowhead like 3 years in a row, and the Ravens are going to Arrowhead for the second year in a row. You should trade these. These should be home and homes.
Well, that's not how it works, though.
I know, but it should.
This game was decided it would be played back in 2002.
I understand.
So it's just that's. But I agree with you. Like, Washington's playing Atlanta this week. This is the fifth year in a row that Washington is playing Atlanta. Did you know that? And most of the time, it's been split because when you play every year, it bounces back and forth. By the way, it's fifth year in a row Washington's playing Atlanta. They're 4-0 in the last 4. It might be. I think the streak's coming to an end this weekend, but that's a number to look out for. In any case, I'm taking the Chiefs to win this game because I can't not. But more than anything, I think that the almost certainty that Xavier Worthy comes back in this game is going to provide such a lift to this offense because again, I don't think the offense is as bad as it has been in the last few weeks to start the year because they're that bad. I think it's because of who's not on the field for them, and getting Worthy back is so big. People aren't ready for the offense to look good when both Worthy and Rice are on the field in 3 weeks' time.
Sure.
Because it will be. Getting Worthy back is the first step to that equation being fulfilled. I think that it definitely changes the game, and I see why Baltimore is favored in this game. They're probably the sharp side, but a guy like me, I got to ride with Mahomes and the Chiefs to pull one out. But
I like that we're not agreeing here.
That's just me being me, though. Like if I had a brain between my ears, I would pick Baltimore to win this game.
Fair enough. Final 4:30 game. Bears at Raiders in Vegas. 2 1-2 teams. This is a tough one too because neither one of these teams is playing very well, but there's potential there. I'm going to go with the coaching and the fact that we've seen more long-term out of Geno Smith than we've seen out of Caleb Williams. And it's in Vegas. Not that really matters either because their fans don't necessarily pack the place.
No.
I'm going to go Vegas. I think Geno starts to figure it out a little bit. And it's Pete Carroll, man.
Yeah. This is the Ben Johnson. Right. This is the Ben Johnson Bowl. Remember, Tom Brady really wanted Ben Johnson in Vegas, and he was like,
right. We just did the Ben Johnson Bowl with the Lions and the Bears.
But this is like the baby Ben Johnson Bowl. There, he was like, nah, y'all kind of stink, and I kind of want to go play with Caleb Williams. So maybe the Raiders come out with a point to prove in this game. I want to pick Vegas to win this game, but I'm going to be honest with you. Seeing that operation up close and personal last week when they played Washington gives me no faith in them to accomplish anything on either side of the ball. I think that they got their asses handed to them in the trenches. I think that I don't know why Pete Carroll's son is the offensive line coach. Let's start there. And then I don't know why they're not playing Jackson Powers Johnson because it's a coach's decision. Like this isn't a situation like Washington had last week where they benched Brandon Coleman. Brandon Coleman was awful in the first 2 weeks of the season. That's like, I hate to say it, but he needed to take a seat. Jackson Powers Johnson is one of the best interior offensive linemen in football. So why is he sitting? It beats me, but I think that they're a total mess right now. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball. I think you could put up numbers here if you're Geno Smith because Chicago's secondary isn't fantastic. But I think Chicago parlays the momentum from last. We remember how hot they started last year because they started to string together some wins, and then the Hail Mary, everything fell apart.
Right.
I think this is a similar set of circumstances where they're going to build some positive momentum, particularly on offense. I think Caleb could have another big day. I think Ramo Dunze could have another big day as well. I will take Chicago and their inability to run the ball, despite that, to go on the road and beat Vegas because I think it's a favorable situation for them.
There you go. Packers at Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. Packers looking to bounce back. Cowboys, one of the better offenses in the NFL, but probably the worst or one of the worst defensive units in the National Football League. Dak, I don't like the things that Micah Parsons is saying, to be honest with you. Did you see him say, like, it's going to be painful? Like, he's going to inflict pain on Dak? It's like, dude.
Yeah. Like, dude, we don't even know if you're going to get a sack.
You're an adult.
Yeah.
Like, you're an adult. And this was your former teammate. Nobody thought it was cute that you two butted heads. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to side with Dak 10 times out of 10. Dak's not a diva and the quarterback of the team. In every facet,
he's an awesome dude.
In every facet of the situation, the diva is Micah Parsons.
Yes.
Between talking trash about Dak on his podcast and this and that, and like Micah's the diva, the issue. I've gotten the AI tracker all worked up. I really don't root for Micah Parsons, to be honest with you. But that's okay because that doesn't matter. I think it's tough because it's in Dallas too. Should be a nice atmosphere. The Packers are really good, but then we just saw some flaws last week. The Packers are going to be able to score, though, against this Dallas team, but the Dallas team is going to be able to score. This has shootout written all over it. I think that's the only way Dallas has the ability to win games this year. Give me the Cowboys at home.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I would have maybe agreed with you and even agreed with the idea that it would have been a shootout if CeeDee Lamb was going to be out there, but he's not. And that
he doesn't catch the ball anyway.
That's true, but his impact on the field.
He's a presence.
Like, listen, is it George
it's more the running back room for me, man. I think they got the best 1-2 punch in the NFL.
That's I don't know about that. You got Sonic and Knuckles up in Detroit.
Yes. One of them.
You've got the potential for a George Pickens or Jalen Tolbert legacy game here, but I don't know how plausible that is. And Jake Ferguson has been. That's fair, but Caleb Williams just did what he did to Dallas's defense. Russell Wilson just did what he did to Dallas's defense. So I think Giovanni Heater could throw for 300 yards in this game. I think Green Bay should win this game pretty comfortably. Is there a chance Dallas comes out with a point to prove because it's Micah Parsons and because it's the Packers? It's a rivalry game, right? This game had meaning before Micah got traded to Green Bay. I don't know that Micah records a sack in this game, but I just know that Dallas is dealing with too many injuries offensively for me to just safely assume, because yes, they are a good offense, but with what they're dealing with, I think they're going to take a step back. I think this is going to be harsh. Like, I think there's a chance they get crushed and Jerry has to be snarky with the media again after the game. That's just the way I see it playing out.
The only Cowboy that I like, I like a lot of Cowboys. There are two. I didn't like Jerry or Micah Parsons. I like Dak.
No, I love Dak Prescott.
Prescott.
He's great. Former Walter Payton Man of the Year winner. So, I mean,
indeed,
with an amazing story. So, like, I mean, it's all fun and games for me to hate on my rivals, but I think Dak Prescott's an awesome guy. And I love we've talked about, I love Sedarian. He's like one of my favorite players in the league. I wish he was playing in this game, but he's not going to.
Yeah. Monday Night Football. Jets at Dolphins. 2-0-3 teams in the AFC East.
Background noise.
Josh Allen's little brothers are just duking it out.
It's background noise.
It's like Josh is trying to do his homework and his two little brothers are wrestling in the living room, knocking things over and just making a mess.
Dude, it's like the scene in The Incredibles where Violet and Dash are like beefing at the at the table, and Mr. Incredible is like trying to read the paper. And it's like, whatever, like, dude, like, let the kids duke it out, whatever. They're just kids at the end of the day. It does not matter who wins this game. Listen, I apologize to both teams, both franchises, both quarterbacks. Okay, Tyrod Taylor, I love you very much, sir. In Miami, wearing their rivalry uniforms in this game, they're kind of boring, to be frank, but they're not bad. It doesn't matter. I don't really care. I'm gonna take the Dolphins because they're at home.
Me too. Me too.
And
they're 2.5-point favorites. I think,
but is this
I
the
do
game
love
where
Aaron
it falls?
Glenn, though.
Yes, exactly. And is this the game where it falls apart for Miami, like, and McDaniel gets fired on Tuesday? Because it could be.
I don't think
I'm taking the Dolphins with the biggest possible grain of salt, but like, there's definitely a world where they get crushed and Tua gets benched and McDaniel gets fired.
Give me Aaron Glenn and former Hokie quarterback Tyrod Taylor to go on. I was gonna take Miami, I totally was, but I kind of like the Miami implosion idea. I don't even know who's gonna win this game. This is such a crapshoot.
I also don't care, respectfully.
Valid, and they're in my division, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Last one, Bengals at Broncos. Seemed like it could have been a whole lot of hoopla if you looked at it in the preseason, and instead the Broncos are 1-2 with a guy that can't play quarterback super duper well like he was last year. And then the Bengals.
When did you become the Bo Nix hater? That was my job.
You're rubbing off. I spend too much time with you. And then the Bengals, they don't have a quarterback.
No.
So, give me the Broncos to win it in Denver. It's the altitude, man. 7.5-point favorites. The Bengals look really, 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 really bad last week.
Correct.
So you should not get killed by Carson Wentz-led Vikings.
Although Brian Flores makes everybody have nightmares.
He's a wonderful, but he's the defensive coordinator. What's the excuse for a 48-point onslaught from Carson Wentz?
2 defensive touchdowns?
Okay, that helps. Valid. Okay, you got me there. You got me there by the same player.
Correct.
By the same player.
Shout out to Isaiah Rodgers. Yeah, defense wins games. Denver's defense is so much better. Even though Cincinnati's defense has not been terrible, it's hard to bounce back from what happened last week, especially on the road at another very difficult place to play. Broncos are going to be wearing those midnight navy uniforms, which I absolutely adore. That's a very tough place to win in prime time. Could see points on the board in this game, but I think they're too sound, Denver is, and I think this is going to be another game where they establish the run very effectively, and Bo Nix doesn't do anything crazy, but he does just enough to get the job done to get back to 500, because they're also going to need it. They need it way more. I know the Bengals think they can stay afloat here, but this is a situation where if Denver wins, both teams are 2-2. And I think that seems like a more likely outcome. So give me the Broncos. I probably also would have taken them even if Burrow was playing, to be frank with you, because I think it's tough to win at night in Denver with the way that crowd gets going. Great atmosphere. Yeah. Have you ever, dude, that stadium gives me vertigo just looking at it with how tall it is. I would, you could not pay me to sit at the tippy top of that stadium. I could not do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mile high.
It is mile high. It's down the street from my sister's apartment.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Definitely some fun games on the slate, man. We'll be talking about it for sure. Where can the people find us?
They can find us at Got It Covered FB on all socials, and they better find us there. They better stay tuned, because it's about to get wicked over on the socials. No pun intended for wicked season approaching. Gio and I are very excited about that. It's going to be a lot of pink and a lot of green and a lot of pointy hats and a lot of bad singing a lot of bad singing in the shower and in passenger seats of cars. But
little do you guys know, we have some of the most diverse personalities you could possibly imagine. We love sports and we talk about sports, but we love theater and we have a taste for music and cinema. And that's why we're such good friends, because, buddy, I've never met somebody that has all the different interests and covers all the bases, right? Usually you got friends that only like sports, or you got friends that are only into theater or whatever. And then rarely do those worlds collide, but With you, they do. And that's why we're best pals.
And we're not, that's another way of saying we're not boring. Shots fired. Pew, pew,
We're not.
pew.
We were
No
raised right.
disrespect to other people. We were raised the
We
right
were
way.
raised right. We were
the right
exposed
movies
to all
and
of it.
Yep, everything's the same. The point of this is that the social media content's about to be flowing in the days and weeks to come. So please stay tuned for that. No promises on an Alphaba and Glinda duet from us. Although if somebody wants to see it, I'll freaking make it happen. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes. So @Got It Covered FB on all socials. It's going to be a whirlwind. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we're bringing a new member to the team. And she's going to be running the social medias. That's her passion, and it's awesome. She hit us up wanting to be a part of this, and we said absolutely, because there's not enough time in the day for us to do it. So we're going to do a full announcement. Like, we're going to give her her own post and introduce her on social media, and she's gonna kill it, because she's one of our great friends at Tech, and she killed it down there doing big stuff. And I honestly don't know why she wants to help us, but we're all for it. We're all for it.
Yeah, she's a queen. She's a queen for that.
Yeah, and it was her idea, not other. And I'm glad it was. Otherwise, it'd feel like we're asking for a favor. So
yeah. So shout out to her. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for us to get started.
Enjoy your NFL Sunday. Enjoy your football weekend in total, because between the two, for Raza, I'm Gio. We'll talk to you later.